Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Raid Shadow Legends video, I'm going to go over some of the absolute best epics in the game, and what's even better than that is, they are 100% guaranteed to be yours as well. None of this showing fantastic troops, fantastic champions which are inaccessible, and there's, you've got to be really lucky or possibly even spend money to get them. These are guaranteed champions which you can get absolutely for free, immediately. Well, not immediately, you've got to play a little bit to get Uugo here. Uugo is an absolutely fantastic champion, really good for pretty much every single game mode in the game, and one of the ones you want to get straight away. And you can have her straight away as well, absolutely guaranteed. All you got to do is download the game using my link in the description below or the QR code up top, and when you do that, you'll get the tag all absolutely straight away, as well as a bunch of silver and a load of other stuff at the same time. And when you reach level 15, you will get Uugo here, absolutely guaranteed. And Uugo is absolutely fantastic, and all you got to do is download the game and reach level 15. Now let's go over why Uugo is basically so fantastic and one of the top tier epic champions in the game. Now, when it comes to the Hydra clan boss, Uugo is an absolute powerhouse. Absolutely amazing. Many players even keep a few of these, like 3 of these, maxed up just for this fight. But Hydra isn't the only place where Uugo absolutely shines. This champion is incredibly versatile and useful across virtually every area of the game, making it absolutely unmissable. So all you got to do is reach level 15 when you use my download code. Now let's take a look at the various abilities here. Black Hand level 1. Now this has Leech, so attacks one enemy, has a 35% chance of placing a Leech debuff for 2 turns. The chance increases by 5% for each alive enemy. So let's take a look at what Leech does. I'm a new player to this as well. I'm learning things as I go along, but really enjoying myself as I do so. But any champion that attacks a champion with Leech, debuff heals for 18% of the inflicted damage. So that is really, really cool. The second one, actually we'll come to that in a minute. We'll go over the third one first, because this is actually very cool as well. Now, the third one, the third attack, provides a cleanse and a heal, making it a super strong survival tool. On top of that, if Uugo is the last one standing, the third attack, this one here, revives the entire team. That's just mental. Uugo's Brew level 1 removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then removes one random debuff from all allies, then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max XP. So a really good heal. But if all allies are dead and Uugo's last one standing, revives them with 50% HP, then feels their turn meter is by 50% instead. That's nuts. That is so good. That is absolutely ludicrously good. That's amazing. But we've also got this one here as well. Maelstrom, rack level 1 at the moment. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decrease buff for 2 turns. Also has a 50% chance of placing a block buff debuff for 2 turns. The chance of placing the block buff's debuff increases by 5% for each alive enemy. So this ability here, that's going to put that on all enemies. And 2 of the most crucial debuffs for taking down tough enemies. So really, really good. That is a really good ability there on that one there. And we've got this one here as well. Final Spite. This places a 30% buff and places a 30% increased speed buff and a block damage buff on the champion for 1 turn whenever this champion's last living ally is killed. So a really, really strong set of abilities there with heals, entire team revives and more. Absolutely amazing and free. Well, I can't say it enough. All you got to do is download the game using my link in the description below or the QR code up top, and at level 15 you will get Uugo. Absolutely amazing. Really, really good. Right, next up we have Vogoth, an HP based tank with a powerful provoke ability that forces enemies to target him while simultaneously reducing their attack. This makes him highly effective at mitigating incoming damage, particularly in prolonged battles, and his passive abilities set him apart from many other champions. Whenever he takes a hit, he heals his entire team, making him basically invaluable in battles where sustainability is key. Additionally, he applies Leech to attackers, ensuring his team can recover health with every hit they land. So let's go over Vogoth's skills quickly. So the first one is Horrendous Strength, attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of one random debuff on the target by 1 turn. So it doesn't sound all that great, but the strength in this fella is basically that amazing healing. The second one is Wave of Revulsion, attacks all enemies and has a 60% chance of placing a Provoke debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Also has a 60% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns on targets who receive the Provoke debuff from this skill. But this one as well, Festering Dynamo, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. That is amazing, that is just so good, it is insane. Only heals by 25% of the damage received from boss attacks though. This champion only receives half of the heal that other allies receive, but it's still absolutely amazing, and it can just keep your team just going and going and going. Vogoth is basically a top tier support tank that is just going to sustain you through tough battles. In this passive healing, it just happens automatically. It's just absolutely amazing. Like in arena, it's going to carry you through so many battles. It is just absolutely nuts, and is just simply one of the best epic champions out there. Absolutely fantastic. If you've got this fella, make sure you feed him up and get him to the highest level you can. Next up we have Royal Guard, who's got a massive great joust there, and it is super powerful. This guy can inflict some serious damage to the enemy. He's an epic from the High Elves faction and is one of the most desired epics in the entire game. Royal Guard is the hardest hitting epic in the game full stop versus dungeon bosses, and one of the hardest hitting overall champions in the game. His second attack is absolutely insane. I mean, it's mental. It scales from the enemy max HP. Therefore, the further you get through the game and fight tougher enemies, the higher their health points and the harder this guy hits for. It's absolutely nuts. Really good. Let's take a look at the other spells. Spells, skills, attacks, whatever you call them. Razor Blade, level 1. Attacks one enemy. Has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense buff for 2 turns. That's pretty decent. And this one, as we said, absolutely nuts. Takedown level 1. Attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to enemy max health points. That is absolutely crazy. Really good. And the third attack here, the Hamstring level 1. This attacks multiple times, which is really good, decreasing the turn meter and speed, making him a truly amazing champion. So yeah, when I power this guy up properly, I'm gonna try and get it so I have 100% crit rate with some high accuracy as well, and some decent speed, because yeah, this one here attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to max health on the enemy is absolutely stunning. So yeah, get this guy and make sure you level him up as much as you can. Right, so overall an absolute top tier champion and damage dealer, and essential for late game content as well. That's how good he is. It's going to carry you through from the beginning right to the end. If you have him, make sure you just gear him up absolutely properly and as quickly as you can. Next up we have Seeker, and Seeker is one of the best turn meter boosters in the game. His second attack, Tailwind, fills all allies' turn meters by 30%, grants a 50% increase to attack buff, and then gives himself an extra turn, effectively reducing the cooldown to just 2 turns. This makes him an absolutely fantastic choice in many clan boss teams, and he's also a solid choice in speed-tuned traditional teams. Absolutely awesome. In Arena, Seeker is great as a high-speed turn meter booster, helping teams take the first turn, but even if you don't go first, his passive ability, Dark Blood, gives your team a 60% increase defense buff when he takes a critical hit, making him a top tier choice for go second teams. If you're using him in Arena, make sure he's either the leader or in the second slot to ensure the defense buff applies to everyone. Just go over his skills again briefly. Devour attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 25% chance of placing a Provoke buff for 1 turn. Got that lovely Tailwind, just explain that, fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, places a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns, and grants an extra turn. Absolutely superb. And Dark Blood heals this champion by 20% of health points and places a 60% increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns when he gets a critical hit, as we just said. Really cool. That first attack though, Devour, a chance to provoke, which is particularly useful for controlling bosses. And Hydra and Magma Dragon in Doom Tower. Really cool, and overall Seeker just excels in most places, but with his turn meter boost, attack buff, defensive passive and crowd control, He's a key player in multiple areas of the game. Clan boss, arena, Doom Tower, high-end dungeons. He's an absolute must-have for any team. So make sure you get him and make sure you level him up. Absolutely a game-changing troop. Absolutely fantastic. Next up we have Khatun, a Spirit Affinity epic champion from the Barbarian faction and one of the first free champions you'll receive in Raid. You'll get her at day 30 of the login rewards. Just play for 30 days and you'll get her for absolutely free. Really, really good. And she's an incredibly valuable speed manipulator who plays a crucial role in many areas of the game, especially for early and mid-game progression. Her kit is built entirely around speed control with a speed aura that applies to all battles, a turn meter boost, a speed buff for allies, and an enemy turn meter reduction. These abilities make her an essential champion for progressing through dungeons, Doom Tower, and the arena. So a quick look at her skill set. Imperial Grace level 1, attacks one enemy, has a 25% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Second one, Rally the Horde. Fills the turn meters of all allies by 15% and places a 15% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. And the Ascended skill fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% and places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. And the Shamanic Lightning there attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of decreasing the turn meter by 15%. Right, but why is she so important? Well, first of all, she's one of the best free champions. She's given to all players early on and is useful well into the mid-game and beyond. So you combine her when you get her with day 30 of a login with Uugo, and you'll be level 15 by then as well. And you've got 2 absolutely amazing epics to start the game with, which is a really cool way to start the game when you use my link in the description below or the QR code up top. And her game-changing speed manipulation is really good. Rally the Horde, fills allies turn meters by 15%, gives that 30% increase speed buff, making her one of the best budget speed boosters. And she's fantastic for arena as well. If you build her fast enough, she'll help your team go first in battles, which is crucial in classic arena. And Doom Tower, really good as well in that, and she's just good at everywhere really, like dungeons, Doom Tower, faction wars, absolutely fantastic troop. So make sure you get her at day 30 and make sure you level her up. Right, now this is one champion which I don't actually have in my collection right now, and I can't wait to get it because it's absolutely fantastic. It's kind of hard to believe this thing's actually just a epic. Maneater is absolutely awesome from the Ogrin tribes, and it's just a fantastic choice for clan boss battles and offers near unmatched team protection and utility. Just take a look at this. A third attack here. The signature move for me, this grants unkillable and block debuffs to your entire team for 2 turns. This is a game changer for clan boss. It allows your team to ignore affinity disadvantages, avoiding decreased speed debuffs and other harmful effects. Really good. The champion receives damage, then places an unkillable buff and a block debuffs buff on all allies for 2 turns. Damage received is equal to 5% max HP for each alive ally. Absolutely stunning. Then we've got Siphon level 1, attacks one enemy, fully depletes the target's turn meter, fills this champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses. So depleting the enemy's turn meter while filling his own by the same amount, this is extremely useful against bosses like Dark Fae and Fire Knight, preventing them from taking turns and disrupting their attack cycles. And the first one, Pummel, attacks one enemy, places a 50% decreased attack debuff on all enemies if this attack is critical. So really, really good. Absolutely love the sound of it. I cannot wait to get this champion. Sounds absolutely stunning. Really, really good. Maneater. Cannot wait to get him. And last up we have Fahrakin the Fat. His words, not mine. I wouldn't go calling him a name like that just because he doesn't get on the treadmill enough. But hey, he's absolutely a awesome epic. Now, there are other awesome epics in the game. I'm just going over the main ones that I've actually got and used myself. There's no doubt there are other ones which are absolutely fantastic as well. So if I've left anybody out, then that is the reason why. But Fahrakin is an absolutely beast of a troop. He's a damage boosting machine with kit full of useful debuffs. His second attack, Brand of Shame, let's take a look at this, attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a health point burn debuff and 5% poison debuffs for 2 turns. It's really, really good, making him a fantastic choice for the clan boss and other high health point enemies. On top of that, his first attack applies decreased defense, which helps you deal even more damage, which is really, really cool. Attacks one enemy, has a 40% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. That's going to help you dish out even more damage. Really cool, but the real star of the show is this third attack here. Absolutely nuts. A beatdown. Place a 30% increase critical rate buff and a 30% increase critical damage buff on all allies except this champion for 3 turns. Then all allies except this champion will attack one target enemy. So to break that down, before attacking he buffs all allies except himself with 30% increased critical rate and 30% increased critical damage, then makes the entire team except him gang up on a single target. This makes him perfect for arena teams, fire knights, shield breaking, and just melting through bosses. Really, really cool. And his passive ability as well, body block, really good. Deflects 20% of all incoming damage this champion receives onto all allies. The damage will be spread equally across all allies. This may seem risky at first because obviously that damage you've got incoming maybe is going to be spread across the rest of your team. So you're redirecting it towards the rest of your team. 20% of the damage he takes goes on to his allies, but in practice it helps actually spread out incoming damage, making it less likely for any single champion to end up getting killed. And if you've got a healer on your team at the same time, you can obviously then heal your champions and get them back to a healthy state rather than having dead champions, which you obviously don't want. But there you go, there's my first bunch of champions I really love, which are epic level. There are more in the game. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back into there again. And I've got a lot of other epics. Let's look by rarity, make sure they're in the right order. I'm sure there's other good ones as well, and a whole load of others which I haven't actually got yet. But I have gone through a lot of them, taking a look at what they do, and this is my favourite ones so far. Absolutely fantastic, and they're so good that you shouldn't be misled sometimes into just thinking that just legendaries and mythicals are the best ones. Obviously, there are going to be some really, really good legendaries, but some I think are a little bit poor, like Skeletor. For me, for legendaries, is a bit naff. Don't know if I'm just using him wrong, but there's nothing special about him at all. And I've got him leveled up as well, but he hardly makes it into my teams anymore. I mean, I know I haven't got like exactly a wide range of troops or champions, but he's still legendary, and this is the same with all games of this kind of type. There's sometimes not every legendary, not every mythical is going to be better than the last mythical or legendary champion. There's going to be some epics which, when combined with other champions, are going to actually be better than certain legendaries, or maybe even certain mythicals, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, this like Skeletor's legendary, for example, and you got this Havoc Scythe level 1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of increasing the duration of a random debuff on the target by 1 turn. So okay. Skull Comet is not too bad. Attacks one enemy. Has a 74% chance of placing a petrification debuff on the target for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, places a 50% decreased attack debuff and a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns instead. Whenever a petrification debuff is removed or expires on an enemy, has a 50% chance to place a 30% decreased speed debuff on the enemy for 1 turn. And the third one here, Begone Fools, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 2 turns, and has a 75% chance to steal any block buffs and 1 other random buff for each enemy. Then decreases all enemies' turn meters by 15%. If an enemy is from the Tellurian League, decreases that enemy's turn meter by 30% instead. And we have the Master of Evil, unlocked at Ascension level 3. Whenever this champion attempts to place a debuff, steal a buff, decrease an enemy's turn meter, or increase the duration of a debuff on an enemy, increases this champion's accuracy by 20 for each buff on that enemy. Whenever this champion is hit, has a 40% chance to place a 50% decrease debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. The chance increases to 75% against champions from the Tellurian League. So, and I've used them a bit. I haven't got that one unlocked yet, but there's nothing too special about Skeletor for me as a legendary. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because, to me, every single one of those epics I've just showed in this video are better than him. but he's legendary. They're epic. You'd think legendaries would be better, but it's not always the case. But anyway, like just gone over those epics there. Absolutely love them. Really, really good. So remember, you can get Uugo straight away, or not straight away, when you reach level 15. Just use my link in the description below or the QR code up top, and you'll also get Tag All when you download a game absolutely immediately. Some silver, some brew magic and more, and you get Uugo at level 15 and some more goodies at the same time. So there's the video. If you found it useful or helpful, it'd be really cool if you bash that like and subscribe button. It really does help. But most of all, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in the next one. Bye for now.